And now we're gonna go ahead and jump into the portion of, you guys just let everybody know about how important their story is and how important it is that they share their message with their member of Congress. And so now we're going to pivot a little bit to some of the tools that CCL and BCL have at our disposal to help our small and medium-sized enterprises do that, where we know that you guys are focused on running your business and maybe don't have a public affairs staff or a trade association to kind of help with that challenge. So I'm Kyle Kammien. I am Citizens Climate Lobby's Senior Business Relations Representative. I have a background in corporate government relations and advocacy, and I'm going to walk us through some of the tools that CCL and BCL have here in a presentation. So bear with me while I share my screen. Three main focuses for today's discussion, and kind of the keys to effective advocacy. Those are going to be staying informed, speaking up, making sure your voice and your story are heard, and then showing up to whether that to have a presence with your member of Congress and their staff to make sure that your messages comes across clearly, and so that you can answer any questions or concerns that they may have directly in person. Remember, I think what the last panel demonstrated so effectively was that that you are the experts, and it's your story that really matters when speaking to a member of Congress. Staying informed, the best advocate is an informed advocate, but we understand that as a small or medium-sized business, your time is limited. You're focused on making sure that your business is successful, not on speaking to your member of Congress every single day or getting your message across every single day. And so one of the things that we strive to do, CCL and BCL, is to make sure that we have developed resources that can help you be an effective advocate. Our most comprehensive resources are going to be our websites. On CCL's carbon pricing in Congress page, which you see there on the bottom left, you can see current information on bills, carbon pricing bills, and Energy Innovation Act in Congress. You can see studies and reports on the benefits of carbon price and dividend. You can see economic models and so much more. We have an incredible amount of very valuable information. Additionally, if you want to see specifically the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, that bill has its own website, which you can see there on the top right. That bill's website is going to provide resources specific to the bill, news around the bill, statements of support that we've gotten for the bill, congressional co-sponsors, and so much more. But we know that you don't always have the time to do research or peruse websites where to find what you need to stay up to date. If you aren't already following CCL and BCL on Twitter or Instagram and LinkedIn, I highly recommend that you do that. I cannot state how great a job our media teams do. You will be able to find regular updates on the Energy Innovation Act, on the carbon pricing conversation, and climate legislation generally. Through those platforms, you will find news stories, op-eds, and lots of opportunities to take quick actions to demonstrate support or to just kind of spread the news about what's happening in the space. As I said, as is the nature of social media, it will be in quick and easy to read formats that are going to help you stay informed without demanding too much of your time, which is, as I've mentioned several times, is we understand that's a key component for you, that we're here as a resource and to kind of expand your bandwidth and help you have these conversations effectively and meaningfully with legislators and help you have all the information you need to do so. Some additional resources, Business Climate Leaders website is another resource with lots of information on carbon pricing and such policy and the Energy Innovation Act. If you're a current endorser of the bill, which I'm going to touch on in a few minutes, endorsers will get email updates with important news from time to time. So an example is when the Energy Innovation Carbon Dividend Act was reintroduced in Congress last week, endorsers from the previous Congress who supported the bill got a notification that the bill was reintroduced and with that it had 28 co-sponsors, et cetera. So important news around Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, around carbon pricing, will come to you on occasion to help keep you up to date. And last but not least, we try to anticipate any questions or concerns that any supporter or endorser might have. But you can always contact your local chapter or connect with CCL, and we'll provide these slides and resources in an email after the event, and you'll find links to contact us and find the other resources there as well. After you've taken the time to get informed and to make sure that you understand, what the policy options are up there and what the opportunities are, your voice really needs to be heard. As you just heard from our panelists and from Congressman Peters before that, now is a critical opportunity to really let Congress know, your elected officials know what your story is and why you support the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act or carbon pricing policies, because right now is when decisions are being made of whether or not and determining whether or not we're going to succeed in our efforts to pass legislation to address the climate crisis. So your voice really needs to be heard and your story matters. One of the ways that you can start to take action and make your voice heard is also through our social media channels. So social media, we know that it can be difficult to find and write the content when you want to get it just right. We're here to help with that by producing content, as I mentioned, regularly that can be shared easily, and to demonstrate that carbon pricing is popular. The tweet you see in the image here is new just today, and it is regarding a New York Times article that outlines a letter from the business community. 310 businesses signed a letter to the Biden administration today, saying that they wanted to double our commitment to the Paris Climate Agreement and reduce carbon emissions by 50% by 2030. And so this is a great opportunity for us to show the building support from the business community for carbon pricing and for emissions reductions, and B, this is a great opportunity for you right now to take action. The link will be dropped in the chat. You can jump in there and retweet this timely tweet, but also have access to the article and to learn more about what's going on in this conversation. But if you could, take a moment to jump in there and retweet that or quote tweet that now, we'd love it if you could take action that way. Another opportunity to get engaged is endorsing the bill. So if you have done your research and you've looked into carbon fee and dividend, and you want to support the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, you can do that through the website, the bill's website. Many in our audience have already done that, and for you, thank you so much. We have more than 1,000 businesses across the country who have already endorsed the bill, which is just tremendous, and really helps us when we're talking to Congress about the broad base of support from so many groups across the country. So every single endorsement counts, and this is the coalition that is working to get the bill passed in Congress. And so if you haven't endorsed yet, but you're looking for the next step you can take, or you're looking for the next way that you can be a part of the conversation, this is a terrific step to demonstrate to Congress that this is the solution that you support, and the broad-based solution that you think can get bipartisan support and get through Congress. Another terrific tool that our teams have put together for our endorsers is this video endorsement tool. We are able to help our endorsers tell their story about how climate change policy is important to their business and why they support the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act. Our team built this awesome interactive tool that will take you about 10 minutes. And after you have done that, our video editing team will put together a terrific professional short video to feature your story and send it back to you. So I'm going to walk you through the tool and show you a sample of the videos. They're just really excellent, and I think you're going to really enjoy them. So this is the interactive tool that our team has put together, and you'll see a sample here of how it will work. So The link will be dropped into the chat, and it will also be provided in the resources after the event. But here, let me demonstrate this for you.
And Dividend. You're going to be using this interactive platform to share your thoughts. To get started, would you let us know what kind of institution you represent?
So as you can see, it's interactive and walks you through exactly what you need to do. So I am going to just demonstrate quickly here the first step. So if I'm a small or medium-sized business, I would click select business. I would put in my name and my email, and then I would click next step.
Now, we'd love you to film yourself answering a few quick questions. When you're ready to answer, press the record button to respond. After you answer one, the next question will load. You'll be able to review your answers before you send it. Please answer in full sentences and enjoy yourself. Question 1, please introduce yourself. Tell us your name, city, and state, and what you do.
So I'm not going to walk you through the entire tool, but as you can see, it is super easy to use, very intuitive, and my colleague Ashley will walk you right through it in real time. And once you have completed and you can redo it as many times as you need, so there's no pressure to be perfect on the first take or anything like that. And once you have completed the recording, it will be sent off to our video team. And I'm going to show you an example of one of the completed videos that one of our endorsers, Epiphany Craft Malt in North Carolina, has shared on their Instagram page.
Climate change is a real challenge to my business here and everyone who's involved, from the farmers who grow the grain to the brewers. More energy usage to run my equipment properly, to make up for the warmer winters and the certainly warmer summers. I don't see any way around addressing this problem as soon as possible. I want to thank you, Representative David Price, for signing up and endorsing HR 763. I'm all in, and I know the breweries, distilleries, and certainly the farmers, we all hope that you're very successful in convincing others in the state to join you to move this agenda forward quickly. It is the best comprehensive first step to really have meaningful impact on changing the way we live and do business to curb climate change.
So as you can see, the videos look really great after they're completed, and for example, this is just a great way that he was able to demonstrate their story. You can see, you can see their business in action behind him. He's sharing how he personally feels about it, but also how his business views it. And they not only, help you show your support, but interestingly, we found that they also perform very well on social media for some of our small and medium-sized businesses, and have helped them build a larger business following on social media. So I think it's just been a really great tool for everyone, and our team will help your business once the video has been completed. It's a quick turnaround, and they'll send it to you, and they'll work with you on how best to post it and timing wise, and how we can assist you with that. But it's a really terrific tool, and our team has done a terrific job. So I cannot recommend that enough if you feel that you're ready to take the next step in demonstrating your business's support for the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act. Some other ways to speak up, some of these were covered in our panel as well. There's always the op-ed or a letter to the editor to your local paper. This is a great tool because, especially for your members of Congress, they pay attention to their local media, right? Those are their constituents. Those are the voters that really matter to them when it comes down to it. And so they are going to pay attention to the kinds of things that they're hearing from the small and medium-sized businesses that are so critical in their districts, and what they're saying in the local media. Another option is to engage, your trade association if you belong to one, or a peer company in the same industry that you have a working relationship with, to establish a position, in support of carbon pricing or the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act. Maybe your trade association isn't aware of it. Maybe the trade association has never considered it. Maybe they don't have a climate policy yet. This is an opportunity where maybe your business could be a leader within the association and say, this is something that I think we need to address and that is important to us. And we're here to assist you in those conversations and provide you the research and support that maybe you'd like to have as you have them. And last but not least, your business can adopt a public-facing official position, supporting carbon pricing or the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act on your website or on other collateral that you have regarding sustainability or climate issues for your company. And the last thing is to show up. Your presence matters, and as I think it was Geraldine in the panel pointed out, in this virtual world right now, it is a little bit easier to get FaceTime, so to speak, no pun intended there, with your member or their staff. Scheduling a Zoom meeting, I think, is probably here to stay. Probably not to the extent that we have seen it, but is probably here to stay. And there will be that's a good opportunity, to access your member of Congress or their staff, especially if it's tough, to travel so far. But the most powerful way that you can tell your story is by to engage your member of Congress and their staff directly. That is, meeting with them as Joseph described his efforts for Fetzer, or having an opportunity to interact with them face to face or over the phone or however it may be, to really share your story and impress upon them how it's impacting you and your business. I think that the theme that we've seen throughout today's event is that the most important thing that your business brings to the table is your expertise and your story. Members are there thinking about 10,000 different issues every day. And if you can come to them and distill an issue for them in a way that really makes sense, and how it lands back home in their district on the people that are their constituents, and that these businesses that are talking to them employ, that is going to be meaningful. And so, it's really just important that where there are opportunities, you take them. And so, CCL regularly has lobby days where our volunteers and supporters go to Capitol Hill, although the last year they've been virtual, and they tell their members why they support carbon pricing bills and the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, and they ask them to support it, and they give them reasons why. And your business can join CCL in this effort. We have an upcoming effort in June that you could be a part of. Your story is important, and we're happy. We're here to help you share that, and happy to help you share it. So if you're interested in joining CCL and meeting your member, please let us know. There's a link here in the slide that'll be provided for you later. There'll be a link in the follow-up, and there will also be a link dropped in the chat here today. It's a really quick Google form, just sharing some basic info so that we can reach back out and coordinate with you later about opportunities to engage your member of Congress and help you be, the most effective you can be, and to help us, get the legislation across the finish line. And so with that, I'm finished with the presentation portion. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, but I am happy to take some questions. Sarah, do we have some questions?
Yes, here is one question that we have in the chat. Susie asked, how can those of us in blue states like California help in areas where there's little support, or do you have enough volunteers in those regions?
So I think, CCL is very fortunate that we have just a tremendous number of volunteers across the country. I cannot tell you how astounding that is when I came on board, just to realize how many chapters and volunteers we had. I think two things that I would like to point out. The first is that every vote is going to count, and every member of Congress, Democrat or Republican, red or blue, is going to need to know that you support Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, or whatever carbon fee and dividend, carbon price policy comes up to vote in a final package. And so if you want to be a part of pushing that forward, you're gonna, even if your member is a Democrat, you need to make sure that they understand that over and over. So I don't think it matters if your member is a Democrat or Republican. I think we need to make sure that they see your support regularly. When it comes to red states, however we want to put it, conservative members that we are concerned about. So, certainly, CCL is going to do our best to show them the support that there is for this policy in their state. And so I think that it's better to focus on where you're a constituent and where you can be the most impactful.
Great. And just in general, could you talk a little bit more about why it's so important to have businesses endorsing and showing their active support for bills that they think will be good for the climate?
Absolutely. I think I think we've kind of had this narrative throughout the day that um, that the businesses that, especially small and medium-sized enterprises, they are like the heart and soul of many of these communities, and they are employing. So they're the constituents. They're employing so many constituents within these communities, and it's easy for a business like a Fortune 20 company that has billions of dollars to pay and have a public affairs firm and have staff to help them share this message. And so they hear from, when I say they, members of Congress hear from those kinds of businesses all the time. And it's not that that message isn't important, it's just that they're used to it. And so it carries a little bit less weight than when the business that it's difficult, that they're focused on other things, that they don't have the capacity to all the time engage on an issue, comes to them and says, this matters to me. This matters to me, and we need to do something about it. And so that is why it's so critically important that our small and medium-sized businesses that are our endorsers, go and share that message. Again, regardless of party, there are just not enough members of Congress that hear from those kinds of businesses. And so we need to make sure that that message is shouted from the rooftops, and that when this comes down to a decision, that there's no way they didn't hear it. And that's really what it comes down to.
Great, thanks, Kyle. And we also had a question. Do companies need to publicly endorse, or can they do so in private with their members of Congress? Do they have to support just the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, or just carbon pricing?
Yeah. So obviously it's up to every business's discretion. I think that certainly it is helpful. Any level of endorsement is helpful in moving the conversation forward. However, if a business is doing it in a way that, no one else knows about, it's really hard, especially with like the strength in numbers argument that Mike made earlier, right? It's really hard to show Congress demonstrably that there is cumulative support across the board, especially if the business is not sharing it with every member. So what I'm meaning by this is that it's not that it isn't helpful, but it is certainly less effective if it is not a public stance of support. And when it comes to whether it's carbon pricing or the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, carbon pricing, Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act is a type of carbon pricing structure. That is CCL's preferred framework for how this would move forward, carbon fee and dividend. Carbon pricing support is, indirectly supportive of that and is welcome, but we prefer, our preference is the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act. We think that that's going to be the most effective solution, and that it's going to be, better for everyday Americans.
And another question from Susan. It says, if our representative is already a co-signer, should our businesses focus on senators instead?
So that's a great question. I still think you want to make sure that they understand that you are really happy, that you show them appreciation for that support. I don't think that there is ever a time where we could do too much to demonstrate support to a co-sponsor for the bill. So that said, first and foremost. But yes, I think that you can shift the focus of your efforts, particularly on the advocacy efforts, to the Senate side if your member is a co-sponsor. I just think make sure that they don't stop feeling the love for going out there and doing the hard work and co-sponsoring the bill.
Great, those are all the questions that we have today. Thank you so much, Kyle.
Thanks, Sarah. With that, I'm going to hand it off to Mark to wrap it up for us. Thanks.
Great, thank you so much, Kyle. So what did we learn today? I think a lot of things. We all learned nobody wants to go after Geraldine. I don't want to go after Geraldine, so I think I understand that. So it's good for everybody to find that out. First and foremost, though, I want to thank everybody from BCL and Kyle for putting this on. This is one of the best conferences I've come to in a while, and I feel like we covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time. What are some of the things that we heard? First of all, from hearing from Representative Scott Peters, he knows a lot on this issue. This isn't something where he invests a little bit. He knows a lot. And I thought he pointed to a couple things that are important to us. the European border adjustment is going to get the attention of American business, and we should be using the European border adjustment as a way of getting members of the House and Senate to speak up, because that is going to impose a price on American businesses. He also said that we could be in a yes or no position by Memorial Day. I've been thinking a much longer time frame than that. So, you know, nobody knows for sure, but boy, we better make sure that we are really active right now making things happen. But I think we're really lucky that we have such a strong ally in Representative Peters. I think there's a couple of things that Danny Richter said that should get our attention. One is that there are so many places around the world where carbon pricing already exists. So this isn't something like where we would be going it alone if we enacted a price. It's important for us to remember that. And then the issue of co-sponsors, you know, because of the timing when the bill came out, obviously all 86 co-sponsors aren't there yet from last time, but way ahead of schedule where we were last year, and way ahead of anything that's ever happened. The most co-sponsors in any other bill last year were 9. So the fact that we're at 36 now, we are definitely moving that in the right direction. I thought our business panel was fantastic. And Pete, I thought you did a great job of monitoring it. I think there are several things that really jump out. One is the importance of having your story to tell, and the importance of your story in particular, because it was reiterated several times that Congress is used to hearing from big business. They're not used to hearing from the local small to medium-sized business in their community. And so that's important because they're hearing from the job creators in their district, and also because it is not the ordinary. It jumps out because it's different. How important connections are, and then how important the next several months are. Kyle gave a lot of things that we can all do, and obviously all of us are not going to do all of them or most of them. Let's pick the ones that are most meaningful to us and make sure that we are doing them and doing them fast and well. Because as Representative Peters said, you know, something's going to be happening quickly, and we want to make sure our voice is a big part of that. So again, to Kyle and all of BCL, for all of you who attended, thank you for taking time out of your day. We're actually going to give you a few minutes of your life back. How often does that happen at a conference? But thank you all for joining us today. For everybody on the BCL team, and Kyle in particular, love being here. Thank you so much for the invitation and letting me be part of this. All right, everybody, have a great day. Thanks for being here.